you had one of the longer tech schools. Again, we can't get into exactly what you do, but you do very important things for the Department of Defense. Um, but how was your experience like in tech school, and just the I believe you had like, what was it, 3 phases that you went through? How was that
Two.
experience? Two. Okay.
So it's interesting because the first phase, I hated the base that I was in. I absolutely hated it. I was so depressed. Um, it was just horrible. But um, ironically, about 4 or 5 months in, I was like, I love this space. So that's why I try to tell people, like, when they say like just make the best of where you're staying, like that's so true, because I
Mm,
hated that base with a passion, and then I just grew to love it. And it really was the people. Like, that was when I got exposed to, like, not even just Air Force, but there was a lot of Marines and Army, and I there was Navy, but not much. They were super rare, but I was mostly around a lot of Marines. We didn't really
mm,
interact much with the Army, um, so it was really cool, like interacting with people from other branches, and I made like a ton of friends. It was awesome. It was it. I had so much more freedom, which was nice.
mm,
You're still under, like, going through a lot of different rules and stuff, and you have curfew, and the whole going through the different phases was such a pain. Oh my God. There's literally nothing worse than, at the time I was 30 years old, and being told that my bedtime is 10 o'clock or I have to be in my room at 10. Like, that was a hard
right.
pill to swallow.
Right.
And I think that kind of like led to like my depression at the time, because I was like, okay, I did this for a better life, but like I don't want to be treated like a child. Like, I was because I had been in BMT for a month longer than I should have been, so I was kind of over being treated like a child. So to
Mm-hmm.
continuously be treated that way, not to mention because of COVID, the pipeline slowed down tremendously. So I was at
Wow.
my first base for 5 months, but in reality I was only in, like, so my actual like class was supposed to
Mm,
last 6 months, but they shortened it to a month. But I
wow.
was there for 5 months, so I was in holding for 4 months because the pipeline
Jesus.
slowed down so much, and they had to deal with ROM and quarantine
Mm,
and all that kind of stuff, that there was literally no beds for people at the next tech school.
wow.
So people were just sitting around waiting. So like I just wasted like 4 months at my first base,
Mm,
doing nothing, and it sucked because you still had to follow all the same old tech school guidelines of the restrictions and the PT and whatnot. So then I finally went to my second base, and that was much better because they, at that point, they learned how to kind of make the pipeline a little bit faster.
mm,
So I only had to wait a month before I classed up, and my class lasted. So at my second base, I was there for 8 months, but because of the holidays and stuff, classes was more like 7 months.
okay.
So I was in tech school for like over a year and a half, which felt like freaking forever. It felt like I was never going to be operational. I was so over it.
Mm,
It felt like a dream. It felt like I'm just going to be in tech school my whole career. That's just what's going to happen. And I was tired of the, like, not having any freedom, and the
yeah.
marching and the curfew and
Mm,
not being able to leave base. Like, I left to join, I left to make a better life, but then it felt like I sacrificed all my freedoms for that life. So I was kind of, I remember talking to you about it actually, I
yeah.
think in tech school, like I was so over it. And you were telling me to just hang in there. It's not
Mhm.
going to last forever. And you were right. You were right. Um, I guess my job is the exception because of just how long the tech school is. It
Yeah.
technically should have been longer. It technically should have been 2 years because the
Yeah.
first phase should have been 6 months, but or 3 months, but they shortened it to one. So yeah, so I left, and it felt absolutely amazing to get to my first base. Like,
Yeah.
it felt like I was constantly asking permission for everything. I
Mm.
remember asking my sponsor like 20 times. I'm like, "Are you 120% sure that I can have alcohol in my room? Like, you're positive?" Because they're doing a room inspection next week, and
Right.
like I don't want to get in trouble. She's like, I mean, as long as like literally your entire refrigerator isn't just filled with alcohol, like you're
Mm-hmm.
fine. And I was like, okay. Like, or the fact that it was nighttime and I'm thinking, can I go outside? It's like
Right.
past 10. Like, I wasn't used to it. Or I
Mm-hmm.
can actually leave the base. I can go and get McDonald's at like 1 or 2 in the morning.
Facts.
It that was hard to get used to. I felt like what do you call it? Like PTSD, I guess. I felt
Yeah.
so indoctrinated because I've been
Mm-hmm.
in tech school for so long. It quite literally took me a solid 3 months,
Mm-hmm.
3, 4 months to get used to like not being in tech school anymore and getting used to the freedoms. Because even though I was free, I still felt like I wasn't free.
Yeah.
It was weird. I'll be honest, it was too shocking for me. I wish they had transitioned me a little bit better.
Mm-hmm.
So, because it was honestly too jarring for me personally.